Editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. My big mama used to say that there are 24 hours in a day, 12 hours to mind your business, and 12 hours to leave other folks' business alone. So, let's talk about our business, Crenshaw Business. For over 5 years now, the good people of the Crenshaw Corridor have lived in a gated community, but not by choice. Gates, fences, barricades, limited street access, closed lots, and then some. By now, you've heard the stories from the folk who've lived this nightmare. Business owners have lost customers. A charter school lost students. A veterinarian lost clients. Churches have lost members. And still, Procrastination Crenshaw sits unfinished. And when I say sits unfinished, I mean sits unfinished. Nobody was seduced by the Jedi mind trick they tried to play when they ran that headline on the front page of a local black newspaper about the project restarting in weeks. I mean, come see for yourself. The only trucks on Crenshaw are deconstruction trucks. It took a minute, but to her credit, LA Mayor Karen Bass showed up and she's leaning in on getting our parking back. But think about this for just a second. LA is not Chocolate City, and yet we are blessed to have a black mayor and a black city council president. But where is the black city council president? Where is Marquise Harris Dawson? This is his project in his district, but he has been strangely quiet. Did you notice in the recent Los Angeles Times story about Procrastination Crenshaw that neither Marquise Harris Dawson nor Destination Crenshaw had a word to say on the record? The silence was deafening. When people ask me why the silence, all I can say is, good question. As a reminder, the Crenshaw Corridor community sent him a letter, and it laid out real demands: a public timeline, relief for the businesses that have suffered, and an audit. At the moment, the last one matters most, the audit. Here's the thing, the foundation money, the private donations, that's their business. But this project is also funded by city money, state money, and federal money. I refer you back to the front page story in that black newspaper where they all talked about this. Go read it again. In any event, it's your money. And when public money goes into a $100 million project that still sits unfinished, the public has a right to see where every dollar went. Contracts, budgets, payments, schedules. That's not too much to ask. Again, it's your money. Our letter gave Mr. Harris Dawson a deadline, Friday, September 4th, to respond. The clock is ticking, Mr. President. 12 hours to mind the public's business. And this is one of them. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
How did you want it?
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss you. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
May we continue with what we were talking about yesterday evening. We were saying that this is not a lecture with a view to convey information. We are together having a conversation. You, as a separate human being, if you are separate at all, with the speaker. We are walking down a lane, wooded, plenty of shadows and birds singing. We sit down together and talk about the whole problem of existence, which is very complex. And as we are friends for a long time, we have many days to talk over these things. And we are neither convincing each other about any subject. We're not trying to persuade each other. We're not trying to overcome the other through arguments or sticking dogmatically to one's own opinion, prejudices, but rather together. And I hope you're doing the same with me. Together, we are going to look the world as it is and the world that is within us.
So from the very beginning, I brought Krishnamurti, right, to the forefront of these shows because his philosophy, his philosophical approach, his style of questioning, right, Socratic in nature, it inspired me. I discovered him in the 90s. Every time I got into a relationship, there was a wreckage. I realized the acquisition of knowledge was not enough. People are asking, how does Zoe get to talk about this kind of stuff? Because in order to gain any modicum of insight, there were pieces of me that had to be confronted. And in that confrontation, there was a recontextualization of who I thought I was. In other words, an actual destruction of an old architecture, an old belief system, an old structure that lived within me. And just when I thought I was starting to understand things intellectually, articulately, I started to realize, oh, you just only know the words. You're not embodying the words, though. I started to understand that. Many broken hearts, many disappointed people in my life, because I was still trying to figure it out, right? But that initial serious relationship when I was in my teens set me on this journey of the acquisition of information. It didn't come until my mid to late 30s that I recognized that, yes, you have accumulated a lot of knowledge, but you have not downloaded any of it. You can speak it with eloquence, but you cannot live it. It was a guru that I was studying in the 90s by the name of Satya Sai Baba, who said these three things. He said they must be in alignment or it's not real. Thought, word, and deed. They must be integrated. The thought, the word, and the deed. The action, the behavior, the embodiment, thought, word, and deed. If those three are misaligned, there's more to learn. There's more to know about oneself. I'm trying to give you an understanding of my approach, my philosophical approach to relationships. I do not believe the crisis in modern relationships begin with people lacking information. We may possess more relationship information today than any generation before us. We have dating coaches, therapists, pastors, psychologists, masculinity teachers, femininity teachers, marriage experts, attachment specialists, social media commentators, red flag lists, compatibility tests, communication formulas, and endless instructions about what men and women should expect from one another. My question begins somewhere else entirely. What if the person consuming all of that information has never seriously investigated the consciousness interpreting the information? That question sits at the center of my work. I am not primarily interested in teaching people how to acquire, manage, keep, control, or correctly perform in a relationship. That is not what I do. Although the majority of folk in this field will try to, make it seem like they can teach you how to do this in 30 quick steps in a 6-week masterclass. No disrespect to them, get your money. I want to know what intimacy reveals about the human being who entered into it, right? What does your attraction reveal about the essence of who you are? The substrate beneath your mask. What does your idea of intimacy reveal about that portion of you? Right? What does rejection disturb within your spirit? What does betrayal expose to you? Within you, to you, right? What does commitment threaten inside of you? What architecture does it threaten? And philosophical architecture, psychological architecture. What does commitment threaten within you? Why does one person feel like safety while another produces panic? What part of your history participates in what you presently call chemistry? Did you hear the question? What part of your history participates in what you presently call chemistry, compatibility, masculinity, femininity, loyalty, disrespect, abandonment, love, or God? This does not make my work superior to Tony Gaskin's work, or Stephen Speaks, or Dr. Thelma Bryant, or Kevin Samuels, Iyanla Van Zandt, R.C. Blakes, or anybody else. This doesn't threaten anybody's platform or work. My work doesn't do that. Many of them address dimensions of relationship life that deserve examination. And in certain areas, have expertise that I do not. They possess an expertise that I do not. Right? The distinction lies in the question I refuse to stop asking. What sits underneath your answer? If someone tells you to know your worth, I want to investigate the architecture that taught you what worth meant. Who established the value? Do you understand? I want to know. If someone tells you to choose better, I want to investigate the chooser. My philosophy begins where relationship advice often ends. Typically, the relationship advice world is giving advice to a person who wants to then use it to change a circumstance, to change a situation, to get ultimately what they want from something. Typically, the advice is not centered on becoming the authentic, true self or finding self-resonance. Resonance within this. How do you resonate within you without judgment, without verdict, without self-prosecution? Do you see? They come to you and say, how do I get this? How do I do that? I don't do that. That's why I say my philosophy begins where relationship advice ends. I use intimate relationships as a doorway into higher consciousness. Identity, culture, psychology, spirituality, perception, and the hidden assumptions through which human beings experience one another. This is why I believe my voice matters in this space. I am not asking people to merely become better at intimate relationships. I am asking whether relationships can make us more conscious of the person who keeps creating them. That's what my work is about. We got callers on the line. I want to get them in here right now. Leroy from Inglewood, California, legendary Inglewood with legendary Leroy. He has returned to the scene of the conversation. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Well, first and foremost, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
All right, wonderful, man. While everybody was giving you your eulogies, I said, let me chime in and give mine.
A eulogy? For real?
Yeah, eulogies is kind words, good words.
I know.
And these people they're calling in like, Zoe, I remember you from 25 years ago. So, when I found you, it was 15 years ago. And, and I remember when I first found you as well. And it was like the first time ever I saw Zoe's face. I felt this Negro, thought he was smart.
Here we go.
And you were, and you are. You wiser now. You were smart then, but you wiser now. And you so much kinder, gentler. No, you are, man. You used to go hard body. You used to go in, blazing. And now you be treating, the religious people, the inepts, a lot kinder. And when I was listening to you share about how this young lady in your teenage years ignited you towards this journey, I got sensitive inside. I started thinking about Lionel Richie and other breakup songs and whatnot.
Hello?
Yeah, no, you know what I mean? And it was like, it's painful oftentimes when we get on these journeys, and then it leads to a certain type of loneliness until we learn how to come back to ourselves. And sadly, most of the people that I know for a fact that I deal with, they haven't done that much work.
Mm-hmm.
They would rather argue with me than the sources that I share. And they would get mad because me acknowledging that I'm incomplete.
Mm-hmm. But
yet it's still qualified to give them answers to questions that they've had for 10 or 15 years and they ain't getting answers for from the places that they're going to get them from. I said all that to say, brother, stay on your journey. I love your self-definition, being issue in real time, right? And acknowledging that up front so that the adepts can get what they need and the inepts can get their bells rung. Without you beating up on them like you used to. You're trying to hold people's hands and moving them along in a better way now. And I just want to thank you for being a very good sensei and a kind individual with the teaching. Appreciate you so much, brother.
Man, guess what you just did, good brother?
Man, we brought Inglewood City of Champions in the building.
Yes, sir. Inglewood in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me. 1-800-920-1580. Listen, there's more to come when we come forward.
The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
The KBLA 1580 app puts the realest conversations right in your pocket. Stream live wherever you are in the world. No static. No searching the dial. A crystal clear connection 24/7, exactly when you want it. We recommend that you keep automatic updates enabled. Set it and forget it. So the app stays up to date with store requirements, bug fixes, and new features as we roll them out. Download the KBLA 1580 app today and stay plugged into the conversation everyone's having.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
My name is Asata Umoja. I'm with the Hyde Park Organizational Partnership for Empowerment, which is at the southern end of Crenshaw. And this community has been greatly impacted. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we're most concerned about is just being totally neglected. And what I mean is being excluded from the process. When this project first started, they should have made sure that our organization, since we were most impacted, was in there. So we've been excluded, and we've seen commercial properties be taken for art projects. And we're very concerned about these are spaces that could help build economic growth and development in the community. And what this community needs more of is economic development, not art. I mean, I like art. It's a good thing. But they're putting the cart before the horse. Because without a solid economic foundation, what they are calling cultural tourism absolutely has no significance and no meaning. And this community is going under if we don't stop and do something to help build that economic foundation and support the businesses that are the tax base for this community to build the kind of services that we need. And the response from our leadership is totally inadequate.
Holding them accountable. We're KBLA, Talk 1580.
Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, wait, hold on. Story time. The music. Oh, my goodness. Faith Evans. What is this, 94? 93? I'm just becoming a music executive. Loud RCA Records. Senior VP of West Coast A&R. Steve Rifkin hired me. Man, oh Manischewitz. This is when I was dating the Laker girl. She was already in a relationship, Scorpio. She had been in this relationship for about 6 years. I met her in a club in Pasadena. I was there to see an artist. She was with her friends. She was playing pool. She had some type of brace on her knee because she injured herself on the court. Right? Gorgeous, beautiful little Scorpio vibe. My God. I was 24. She was 27, going on 28. And we locked eyes. I gave her my card. Yeah, she took it. She told me she had a dude. I said, it's cool. And then I received a call at my desk the next day. I was at Loud, listening to demos. I think at the time the demo I had was Razzcast. And I loved Razzcast. I was like, oh, I'm going to sign this guy. But I got this phone call, and it was the young lady. She told me she was in a relationship. It was serious. And I was like, all right, that's cool. But then she asked me to go to the movies. And that's when I knew. Yeah, I'm in here. And then she tried to play the older woman thing on me. Like, oh, you don't know what to do with this. You young, you. And I told her, I said, be careful. Be careful. She didn't believe me. And what's interesting about this relationship, I don't want to go into the details, but this song, found out the girl could sing. She put this record on in the car, and she was singing like she was literally killing it. I was like, wow, this girl is amazing. Until her dude found out. Hey, play the record. Let's go. Play it from the beginning. So you know what's so crazy about this record? When I tell you we was loving on each other ferociously. Oh, it was one of the best times of my life. She lived in the back house, you know. And I would just slip in, slip out. And then one day, her father saw me walking up. And he told me, he was like, hey man, let me talk to you for a second. And I go talk to him and he says, what do you see in my daughter? I was like, oh, wow, here we go. He said, what do you see in her? He said, she's 27, she's still watching Disney movies. He said, but I watched you at an event we were at. He said, you didn't interact with none of the people, none of the family members. He said, I saw you. You went into the library and grabbed 3 or 4 books and sat down the entire time. I went somewhere with her family. And he was like, I need to know who you are. And when I tell you, the relationship with me and the girl went away. Even though she was wrapped around me like an anaconda down in the Amazon. Man, she was bad. Woo! But the relationship went away because she was already with someone. But her father and I became friends because he was fascinated by my mind. And we stayed friends until he died. Me and the girl's father became road dogs. He was older and he was wise. But he saw something in me and he was like, he told me literally, you can't be with her but because she's beautiful. And maybe the sex. It's got to be the sex. He was talking to me raw. He was like, yo, it can't be nothing else. Because I saw what you was reading, man. When we come forward, it's not over. You're going to learn some more about Zoe Williams.
I just want you to see that you are the one. That's for me. Baby, let me show you love. There's no baby, I love you, baby.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The Visit Lauderdale logo in Florida will stay the same after Black Broward County Commissioner Alexandra Davis withdrew a proposal to add the county's name to the bottom.
The brand is funded by County Tourism Resources.
Other commissioners and business leaders opposed the change, saying the current logo is clean and that a redesign could cost millions. More than 100 people are dead after a landslide caused a gold mine to collapse in a small village in the Central African Republic. The collapse happened Tuesday. A local mining official says more than 100 bodies have been recovered as rescue crews continue searching for survivors and more victims. In Milton, Massachusetts, schools are ending an anonymous residency tip line after black students made up nearly half of about 100 investigations, despite being less than 12% of enrollment. The district will also improve race and housing data while parents continue pushing for police to be removed from the process. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Hey, LA! When the school day ends, families need a place they trust. At the Y, kids are known by name, supported with homework help, and surrounded by caring adults. There's no place like this place. Learn more at ymca.org/nearme.
The KBLA 1580 app puts the realest conversations right in your pocket. Stream live wherever you are in the world. No static. No searching the dial. A crystal clear connection, 24/7, exactly when you want it. We recommend that you keep automatic updates enabled. Set it and forget it. So the app stays up to date with store requirements, bug fixes, and new features as we roll them out. Download the KBLA 1580 app today and stay plugged into the conversation everyone's having.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. The midterm election campaign season is here now. The 2028 presidential election is right around the corner. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. It's all in for 2026 and 2028. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Deon Raymond, Justice Correspondent and host of the Justice Files. For years, LA City Councilman Curran Price has served his district. And for years, he's been under a legal cloud which, frankly, looks thinner every time it's tested in court. Last Friday, a Superior Court judge refused to throw out the corruption case against Price. That's true. But listen to what the judge actually said while doing it. Judge Larry Paul Fidler called this not a great case. Not our words, his. Price's attorney, standing right there in the courtroom, said it plainly. In denying our motion, the court acknowledged that this is not a great case. We agree. Now, that's not a ringing endorsement of a prosecution. That's a judge saying, essentially, there's just enough here to send it to a jury. Barely. The ruling itself says nothing about guilt. It's not proof of wrongdoing. What it is a low bar, cleared by a thin margin, on evidence the court itself has called circumstantial. Councilman Price has pleaded not guilty. He denies the allegations. And after 3 terms representing his district, he's term limited and on his way out of office, regardless of how this case ends, which raises a fair question. What exactly is served? By dragging a longtime champion for working families in South Los Angeles through a trial that even the presiding judge doesn't sound confident about. We're not saying elected officials should not be held accountable. They should. But accountability means something different from a prosecution that struggles to convince the very judge overseeing it. Curran Price deserves his day in court, and he deserves the presumption of innocence any one of us would want for ourselves or a loved one, especially when the bench itself has doubts. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Deon Raymond, Justice Correspondent and host of the Justice Files. As always, we welcome your feedback.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Cause when I see my baby, we're still fine. We're smile and everything. But I have my time when I start to wonder what went wrong. And then I think to myself, I'll just leave it alone. I'll call my friends to see what they want to do. But baby, that just don't work, because it keeps my mind on you. And it hurts when I laugh, babe. Only when I laugh, babe. Yes, it hurts when I laugh, babe. Only when I laugh, babe. I never thought I would see when me and my little baby, me and my little girlfriend would be nothing but good friends. I knew I'd be alright, 'cause when I see my baby, we're still fine. We talking everything, yeah. Well, I have my time when I get alone and wonder why. When I'm having fun, I just can't keep baby on my mind. I watch TV just to see what I can see. Well, Eddie Murphy ain't no joke, because I laugh and start to joke, because it hurts. Only when I laugh, babe. Well, I can see a smiling face, and my heart won't say a thing until I laugh, babe.
Hello, I'm Howard Steele. I was privileged to study and work in England for 18 years, beginning my doctoral studies at a time when Dr. John Bowlby still kept office hours at the Tavistock Clinic, where he spent most of his working life.
Attachment is an integral part of human nature from the cradle to the grave. It may be, it's very prominent in early childhood, but it's true of you and me today.
Dr. John Bowlby was a psychiatrist whose life spanned most of the 20th century. He devoted his life to understanding and promoting mental health, seeing the origins of such health as being the ability to rely on another person when we are distressed.
It's kind of hard for me because I didn't know at first how to treat my children.
And to share joys with them as well.
You know, she's going to become somebody, you know.
Gosh, that attachment piece is heavy. That Troop record, that's a sleeper record. A lot of people slept on that Deepak album. Only When I Laugh is the name of the record. Tonight's topic is deep. I'm sharing so much about myself and my journey and what distinguishes me from a lot of the social media. First off, I'm in school for psychology. I've written books before I was in school that people who were in school used to write their dissertation to. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. The Relationship Dismount, How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship. Last week we had a young lady, shout out to Jasmine up in Washington State. She caused the Relationship Dismount book to go viral because of an impromptu conversation she had with an African-American couple in a park. And randomly, the couple suggested my book. That video, when she came on The Voice of Reason, what was it, last week, Andy? It was last week, Monday, I believe. She came on, and that video was at 800,000 views. She dropped it August 6th. That Monday was the 9th or the 11th or 10th or something. 4 days later, it was at 800,000 views. It's now at 1.3 million views. And that caused the Relationship Dismount, my book, to skyrocket. Dr. Jashana Johnson says she even used my book as a lightweight textbook. Right? I had a friend down in Kentucky, went to Kentucky State. He used my book to write his dissertation. We have a brother that used to come on the show quite frequently, Tony Massey. He wrote his dissertation to the relationship dismount. This is all before I went to school for this stuff. Dr. Alan Berger, who just wrote the foreword to my latest book. He too, Zoe, you're a natural therapist. I've got 50 years in the game and you're a natural therapist. But I don't claim any of that. The only reason why I went back to school is because my uncle, who's 80 years old, convinced me. He said, you've already done the work. Just go back and get the paper. Just finish it up. I'm sharing who I am, why my voice matters. But I'm here to tell you, I created load-bearing, mind-shifting concepts like the holographic relationship, the shrouded lighthouse, and the relationship dismount books well before I decided to go back to finish up, right? But just in case you need further distinctions, here's some concepts that I'm pushing on this platform. You already know need as the original sin. The belief in lack before the relationship even begins. Like, I need this person to fulfill my needs. I know it's psychologically counterintuitive, and I'm trying to upend and turn over every apple cart that these old dead white men created. I'm trying to destabilize all of those theories. My radical move is to ask whether psychological need begins with a metaphysical mistake. I lack something essential, therefore somebody outside of me must provide it for me. So I've framed it as need as the original sin, right? Sure, we need in a developmental sense when we're children, but we don't have to need as adults. We have the capacity to fulfill our own needs internally: self-esteem, self-worth, self-approval, self-validation, self-satisfaction, happiness, self-acceptance. We have the power to do that, but we outsource it. Why? That's why I've pushed and leaned into, need as the original sin, right? Once that premise gets installed, the premise of I lack something essential, therefore somebody outside of me must provide it. Once that premise gets installed, love can mutate into acquisition, validation, possession, control, reassurance, and dependency, right? The partner becomes responsible for repairing an alleged absence in the self. My Shrouded Lighthouse book repeatedly distinguishes inner revolution from external desire and asks whether we can love without requiring another person to conform to our expectations, right? I've got more concepts that I want to share. Are you ready? Because I'm trying to distinguish my voice from everybody else's. I know everybody is saying relationship is a mirror, but they're not telling you that's Krishnamurti. They're not linking Ross Rosenberg, right? The human magnet syndrome. They're not linking it to attachment theory, right? The avoidance and the anxious folk are typically attracted to each other. Like Ross Rosenberg points out that the narcissist and the codependent are attracted to each other. They just throw it out there superficially. Relationship is a mirror. Yeah, but what does that mean? And how does that show up? Clinically, psychologically, metaphysically, spiritually? They don't go that deep. I'm not here to crucify. I'm not here to pathologize. We need every voice. But I'm distinguishing mine tonight when we come forward. More from the VOR.
Relationships got you confused? Need some straight talk? This is where you get the unfiltered truth about love, relationships, and everything in between. He breaks down relationship dynamics with no-nonsense wisdom and practical advice that actually works. Tackling the questions you're afraid to ask and giving you the answers you need to hear. You're inside the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
You ready?
Drop it. 2 shows, 1 Friday. All Amanda Seals. What's up, y'all? Catch me here on KBLA Talk 1580. First from noon to 2 p.m. And if you miss me, I'm back 4 to 6 p.m. See, this is where the conversation gets real. Ooh, and it gets good. So don't miss it. Fridays only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yo, it's Zoe Williams, the VOR, and I know you're tired of pretty gems with pretty lies, where people seem to scroll more than they sweat. Well, it's time to level up. Welcome to Huff and Puff, where excuses die and champions rise. Smack dab at 1221 North La Brea on the corner of Fairview. This ain't a photo shoot, it's a battleground. Certified achievers in the game. Trainers who grind with you, not post pictures beside you. Whether you're chasing your next personal record or just trying to outrun your past, this is your sanctuary of sweat. No mirrors, no filters, no fluff, just pain, passion, and purpose. Stop talking, start training, huff hard, puff loud, be legendary. Where folks go to war with their weaknesses. Huff and Puff.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
I'm an Eat and Fire hero. I was trapped there January 7th, 2025, so I was awarded the Carnegie American Red Cross and the Kiwanis Lifesaver Award. So to me, this looks like a slow burn. We constantly see Dr. Hardy, Pastor Caldwell, Mr. Smiley here. Their business is slowly impacted. Now in Altadena, it was a quick burn. Everybody left, everybody got priced out. They didn't have enough money to stay afloat. They couldn't rebuild their property. So to me, this is a target for the developers. In my opinion, having been in Altadena for 18 months, still today, I still feed all of those people there because they're still displaced because they can't afford to come back. So what do? They move down to the Inland Empire, or they just call it a day and they go back to another state. So it's important to hold leadership accountable because as of right now, they've abdicated their responsibility. They just show up for the cameras and they don't even come to see you.
Keeping them in check. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
You want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
You make me feel so Michelangelo. Baby, I got something I have to tell you about me. Addicted to this feeling. Now I know we've known each other for a while. Now it's time I get this off my chest right now. Girl, you need to be with me. I can give you what you need. Alright, I got just what you want, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we rolling down PCH right now. My playlist has always been my co-host. Come on, man. Y'all know we in here cooking tonight. When's the last time you heard this John B record? We turned up tonight. The Voice of Reason sharing a bit of himself. I've been on one lately. And this is like a primer. Who is Zoe Williams? What is his philosophy? Why should we even listen? Why do we even care? So, I was sharing, need as the first relational sin. I don't believe we're supposed to fulfill each other's needs. That I believe our needs were supposed to be fulfilled in childhood, and when they weren't, a survival system kicked on, and then we carried that into adult relationships, and then we normalized it. I think that's what spiritual evolution, self-actualization, or self-realization, as Paramahansa Yogananda called it. The Buddhists call it moksha or nirvana. I believe when there's this transcendence of the small ego, you understand that there is communion with the source of all that is, the source, the foundational reality of existence. Quantum physicists call God consciousness, right? Infinite consciousness. I believe these ancient spiritual practices could teach us how to get there. Some people go ayahuasca or they lick the frog, but they get outside of the broken, fragile little ego that needs. I believe love is a conduit, or intimate relationships is a conduit for that. I believe it's a spiritual conduit that ends needing. But it may end the relationship too. And I believe many of us are okay with need so long as we're needed. Oof, here we go. Another concept I have, I added on to Krishnamurti's work in my holographic relationship book. The relationship as a holographic event rather than a two-person transaction. Krishnamurti gives a relationship as a mirror. I deliberately say the mirror metaphor is insufficient. Your relationship becomes a multi-dimensional return of history, trauma, belief, environment, identity, culture, God, and accumulated experiences. In my holographic relationship book, I explicitly argue that relationships represent your whole story rather than an isolated present interaction, right? I believe that the intimate holographic connection has lineage, right? It's systemic. Relocation into intimate relationships is part of your distinct, or part of my distinct architecture for relationships. I also use quantum mechanics as a relational questioning language, right? This is one of like my little tricks, right? I love quantum mechanics. I love quantum physics in general. And I built an entire relationship vocabulary around collapse, entropy, entanglement, uncertainty, fine-tuning, and information. Again, that is the holographic relationship book, where I took these scientific principles and applied them to intimate relationship. This was my 2019 book, right? And like I said, it separates me from, conventional dating content, right? Kevin Samuels is not organizing mate market in analysis through uncertainty and entanglement. Gaskins is not constructing boundaries through holographic information theory. Thema Bryant is not, her clinical framework, which is amazing work, does not depend on quantum relational analogy. That isn't to say their information is more important than mine and mine is less important than theirs. Like I said, I believe every voice, every perspective has value. And that has been part of the culture of the Voice of Reason show in terms of the callers. I don't tell you how to answer, and I don't push back on your answer. I allow you to share your perspective, right? That's important to me. Another concept that I talk about that differs from everybody else, the observer is inside the relationship experiment, right? Of course, I'm interested in the wave function collapse of quantum mechanics, right? And it becomes psychologically important when joined to bias, perception, and observation. Again, my holographic relationship book explicitly places personal history and bias beside the observer question and ask how judgment participates in the experienced relational reality, right? Can you objectively diagnose a relationship while your history constitutes part of the apparatus performing the diagnosis? I ask these types of questions, right? A lot of people are not asking these questions, right? And that's okay. I just want you guys to understand we are different and we are valuable. I also talk about relational fine-tuning. Rather than asking merely, why did I choose this terrible person? My metaphorical or metaphysical inquiry asks why this particular person activates this particular thing in you at this point in your development. I ask that. That's part of my philosophy. Of course, I have merged Western attachment theory with Buddhist non-attachment, right? Most relationship content creators inhibit one side of this apparent contradiction. Western psychology asks how attachment organizes relationship. Buddhism investigates how clinging produces suffering. I've merged the two. You put Bowlby, I put Bowlby and Buddha in the same room. Of course, we talk about dukkha. Do you understand what I'm saying? Dukkha, which is suffering. So I just wanted to reintroduce myself to people who might be new to the channel. Spirituality, psychology, metaphysics, quantum mechanics, consciousness, right? Eastern traditions, African traditions, the collectivistic society and their traditions. I merge them all, right? We don't leave out psychology. Psychology is welcomed as well. But I'm merging it all because we need a broader, more expansive answer for some of the questions that maybe just psychology alone can't answer. Listen, I start the conversations. It's up to you to finish them. It's not my job to convince you what to think, but I do want you to think about what we talked about tonight. When we come forward, it'll be a new week and I'll have 4 new slappers for you. I'm Zoe Williams and I'll holler.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A 17-year-old girl is in custody after Detroit police say she fatally stabbed her 20-year-old boyfriend during an argument on the city's east side. Police Chief Todd Bettison.
We always work on intimate partner violence to get individuals the counseling, the resources, and we'll continue to work on it.
Authorities say the victim died at the scene and the investigation is ongoing. Black Americans are disproportionately affected by Alzheimer's disease, but several major studies aimed at understanding why have lost federal funding.